5. San Quentin. San Quentin State Prison, SQ, is a notorious facility located in Marin County, California, and it's renowned for its dark and dangerous history that stretches back to its establishment in 1852. As the oldest prison in California, San Quentin's seen its share of horrifying events, making it an icon of infamy. One of the most chilling aspects of this prison is its role as the home to California's male death row, the largest in the United States. Perched on Point San Quentin, the prison complex occupies 275 acres of land, and its historical valuation ranges from $129 million to a staggering $664 million. While the name may suggest a saintly connection, it's actually a grim tribute to a Coast Miwok warrior named Quentin, who was captured at this very spot during a battle. San Quentin's origins are steeped in darkness. It all began with the wooden ship named the Varbon, which opened as California's first prison in 1851. This ship, anchored in San Francisco Bay, was retrofitted to hold inmates, setting the stage for the horrors to come. Inmates from the Varbon participated in constructing San Quentin, including the Stones cell block, which remains to this day as a grim reminder of its brutal history. The prison's legacy is punctuated by figures like Warden Clinton Duffy, who may have outwardly appeared as a reformer, but beneath the surface, San Quentin was a place of unspeakable cruelty. Inmates continued to suffer beatings, and it wasn't until 1944 that the use of torture as an approved interrogation method was finally banned. But even within this den of despair, there's a glimmer of hope. Alcoholics Anonymous had its first meeting at San Quentin in 1941, a testament to the desperate need for support and recovery amidst the darkness. Prison Library, under Herman Specter's stewardship, tried to provide some semblance of redemption. He believed that reading could encourage pro-social behavior, but the shadow of violence and brutality that permeated the prison persisted. The eerie, sepia-toned murals in the prison's dining hall, painted by convicted heroin dealer Alfredo Santos, serve as a haunting backdrop to the harsh reality of life behind San Quentin's walls. Throughout its history, the prison faced relentless challenges, from severe overcrowding to woefully inadequate medical facilities. It even attempted a boot camp experiment that ultimately failed, contributing to the prison's enduring reputation as a chamber of suffering. Most recently, in 2020, the prison once again grabbed headlines when a significant COVID-19 outbreak erupted, underscoring the ongoing danger that resides within its confines. In summary, San Quentin State Prison's history is a harrowing narrative of brutality and despair. Its legacy is a chilling reminder of the dark underbelly of the criminal justice system, and a stark symbol of the dangers that persist within its walls. 4. Rikers Island. Rikers Island, a sprawling 413-acre island in the East River, situated in the Bronx, New York, is home to the city's largest jail. The name Rikers Island is synonymous with danger and despair, rooted in its dark history that dates back to 1664, when it was named after Abraham Riker. This island was initially under 100 acres in size, but it's since expanded to over 400 acres over the years. Operated by the New York City Department of Correction, this complex comes with a jaw-dropping annual budget of $860 million, a staff of 9,000 civilian officers, and another 1,500 civilians managing the staggering flow of 100,000 admissions per year. And as of 2015, Rikers Island held an average daily population of 10,000 inmates. Shockingly, 85% of these detainees are pre-trial defendants, many of whom are either held on bail or in custody, awaiting their day in court. The remaining population consists of individuals convicted and serving shorter sentences, turning the jail into a revolving door of misery. Financially, it's not any less alarming. A 2021 analysis revealed that it cost the city roughly $556,539 to detain a single person at Rikers Island for just 1 year. But it's not the staggering statistics alone that define the grim reputation of Rikers Island. It's the stories of violence, physical and mental abuse, and neglect that echo through its walls. The prison has been the subject of intense scrutiny, leading to numerous legal rulings against the city government. There's a history of relentless assaults on uniformed officers and civilian staff, often resulting in serious injuries. Mother Jones magazine ranked Rikers Island as one of the 10 worst correctional facilities in the entire United States in 2013. Violence persisted, and by 2015, the jail witnessed a shocking 9,424 assaults, marking the highest number in 5 years. The situation grew so dire that in October 2019, the New York City Council voted to close down the facility by 2026. Rikers Island is not just one prison, but a sprawling complex with 10 jails, housing local offenders awaiting trial, those serving short sentences, and individuals temporarily placed there pending transfer to other facilities. This place is synonymous with danger, darkness, and despair, where systemic abuse and violence have left a lasting stain on the city's criminal justice system. Even in the face of legal battles and public outcry, Rikers Island remains a grim reminder of the dangerous underbelly of the penal system, where chaos often reigns and the inmate's safety remains a dire concern. If someone offered you $10,000 to stay in a cell at Rikers overnight by yourself, would you do it? Let us know in the comments down below. And while you're at it, subscribe to the channel. Now, let's move on to number 3, La Santé Prison. 3. La Santé. La Santé Prison, situated in the heart of Paris, France, is a notorious correctional facility that's earned a chilling reputation for being a place of danger and darkness. Its name, derived from its location on Rue de la Santé, holds a history filled with peril. Operating under the domain of the French Prison Service of the Ministry of Justice, this prison is one of the most famous and infamous in France, featuring both VIP and maximum security locations. La Santé serves as one of the key prisons in the Paris area, alongside Fleury-Mérogis, Europe's largest prison, and Fresnes, both located in southern suburbs. The prison, designed by architect Joseph-Auguste Émile Vaudremmer, was inaugurated on August 20, 1867, setting the stage for a long history of incarceration. Built on the site of a former coal market, it replaced the Madelonnet convent in the 3rd arrondissement, which had been used as a prison since the French Revolution. Before that, a Maison de la Santé, or House of Health, stood on the same site, constructed on the orders of Anne of Austria. But it was later transferred to what is now the St. Anne Hospital Center in 1651. The prison, originally housing 500 cells, expanded to accommodate 1,000 cells in 1900. These cells measure 13 feet in length, 8 feet in width, and 10 feet in height. And with a capacity for as many as 2,000 prisoners, La Santé is divided into 14 divisions. La Santé Prison's dark history includes a gruesome connection to the guillotine. Executions were once carried out at the corner of Rue de la Santé and Boulevard Arago, right on the pavement. The first execution in Paris for a decade occurred here in August 6, 1909, as Georges Duchemin, a man convicted of parricide, faced the blade. Over the years, this place witnessed the end of nearly 40 prisoners, and it was also the site of one of the last public executions in France. Max Bloch, a burglar and double murderer, met his fate on June 2, 1939. Subsequently, public executions were banned, and the death penalty became dependent on the Court of Appeal of Sens. During the German occupation of France, resistance fighters and communists faced execution at La Santé, adding to its dark legacy. But post-liberation, only common criminals met their end within the prison courtyard. The last guillotine executions took place in 1972, when Roger Bontemps and Claude Buffet were executed for a failed escape attempt with hostage-taking. The guillotines used for these executions are now stored in the basement of the National Center for Guidance in Fresnes Prison, marking the end of a gruesome era. In the year 2000, the prison garnered significant public attention when its chief doctor, Véronique Vasseur, exposed its deplorable conditions in a book, leading to an official parliamentary evaluation. Then in 2014, La Santé closed for extensive renovations, signaling an attempt to move away from from its dark past. 2. Carandiru Penitentiary. Carandiru Penitentiary, a name that sends shivers down the spine, is a chilling chapter in the history of prisons, especially in Brazil. It highlights the grave consequences of prison overcrowding and neglect. Constructed to meet the requirements of the 1890 Criminal Code, Carandiru evolved into a nightmarish place by the end of the 20th century. At its peak, the prison held a staggering 8,000 inmates, while a paltry 1,000 prison officers attempted, with little success, to maintain order. Inside those imposing walls, the conditions were nothing short of horrifying. Inmates held sway in every corner of the prison blocks, and malnutrition was rampant. Medical treatment was minimal, and diseases and injuries were often addressed without pain relief. The chief medical director was so afraid for his life and well-being that he refrained from entering the prison for years. And to make matters worse, the majority of inmates were suffering from HIV and other highly transmissible diseases. In 1992, Carandiru Penitentiary bore witness to a harrowing prison riot that culminated in the tragic deaths of 111 prisoners. As the riot spread, negotiations with the inmates were abandoned and military police were deployed to storm the prison. The consequences were catastrophic, with even surrendered prisoners being executed. This mishandling of the situation sparked public outrage in Brazil. The commanding officer of the operation, Colonel Uberatan Gumarias, was sentenced to an astounding 632 years in prison. And though he faced several mistrials, he was ultimately released in 2006, only to meet a tragic end through assassination. The world first glimpsed the abhorrent conditions inside Carandiru when renowned Brazilian physician Drauzio Varela penned a book detailing his 12-year stint as a volunteer physician at the prison from 1989 to 2001. His account gained international attention and was later adapted into the critically acclaimed movie Carandiru, directed by Hector Babenco. This book and film galvanized public opinion and ultimately led to the demolition of the prison in 2002. The legacy of the Carandiru Penitentiary endures in the form of its last standing wing, which has been transformed into a public museum. The haunting history of the Carandiru Penitentiary serves as a somber lesson in the perils of unchecked prison conditions and the tragic consequences that can follow. 1. La Sabaneta Prison. La Sabaneta Prison, often known by the inmates as Vista Hermosa, stands as a grim emblem of danger and chaos within the prison system of Venezuela. At its helm is a man named Vilma Brizuela, also known as Wilmito among his friends. But to the prisoners, he's simply the Pran, the undisputed leader of one of Venezuela's most notorious penitentiaries. And despite the Venezuelan National Guard's watchful eye outside its walls, within La Sabaneta, inmates operate in a realm of their own creation, where the rules of society are cast aside. Photojournalist Sebastian List, along with a co-worker, were granted exclusive access to the prison by Brizuela himself in 2013. During their week-long stay, they uncovered a makeshift society that mirrors the one beyond the prison's confines. Brizuela, who's serving time for kidnapping and murder, believes that his rule over the 1,400 inmates of Vista Hermosa in the state of Bolivar is more humane than the prison authorities in Venezuela. Prison authorities have been under scrutiny for the dire overcrowding, inhumane living conditions, and corruption prevalent in the nation's prisons. Gang violence runs rampant, resulting in a grim statistic of 591 inmate deaths in 2012, according to the Venezuelan Observatory of Prisons. Vista Hermosa's problems are representative of those faced by Venezuelan prisons. Designed to house 650 inmates in the 1950s, it now accommodates over twice that number. Clashes between prisoners and guards have become commonplace, with conditions deteriorating rather than improving. Vilma Brizuela, a former champion boxer, and his gang seized control of Vista Hermosa by force in 2005. And while drug use and violence still persist, they're carefully regulated under Brizuela's rule. Brizuela claims that they've achieved a semblance of peace and minimum standards for human living conditions. Visiting Vista Hermosa during authorized hours feels like stepping into a bustling slum. Open-air vendors peddle DVDs, medicines and snacks amid oppressive heat and blaring techno music. There are plazas for dancing, a formal ballroom for parties, and areas where visiting women and children walk freely. The prison mirrors broader society with its distinct subcultures, including Christian evangelists called varones, who live and pray together. Inmates serving time for sex crimes are segregated, and there's a designated area for gay inmates to live without fear of harassment. Vista Hermosa mirrors the larger picture of Venezuela itself. Alongside moments of family and celebration, violence and despair loom large. Rows of addicts, their bodies wasted by drug use, congregate to smoke and sleep. Men convicted of sex crimes are kept apart from the general inmate population. And additionally, within the society of prisoners, there's an internal prison known as La Gorilla, where the renegade inmates who violated Vista Hermosa's unwritten code are held under armed guard. The existence of prisons like Vista Hermosa, which generate substantial profits from illegal activities and taxes paid by inmates to Brizuela, is impossible without the complicity of corrupt officials who allow the influx of drugs and weapons. Even Brizuela himself acknowledges the need for arms, stating, "The arms are for protecting us from the National Guard." If you were forced to serve prison time for a crime you committed, which of the prisons from today's list seems like the least problematic place to complete your sentence? Let us know what you think in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.